Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the fireside chat with on the topic of CX in today's world of the new normal. With me today, I have two esteemed panelists, Manisha Bhusal from JD.ID and Kanan Rajaratnam from Zalora. And I'm gonna talk about a little bit about Yellow Messenger as an organization. The webinar is brought to you by Yellow Messenger. I'm Neil Berman, the Chief Growth Officer at Yellow Messenger, and Yellow Messenger is a leading conversational AI platform that has been automating core business functions for over 500 plus enterprises across the globe today. Some of our clientele includes names like Roche, Schlumberger, PepsiCo, Asian Development Bank, Domino's, and of course JD.ID and Zalora. We have been recognized as a leading conversational AI provider and a key vendor for CX automation by Gartner in multiple reports. We are absolutely excited to host our panelists today, Manisha Bhusal from JD.ID and Kannan Rajaratnam from Zalora in our fireside chat today. So let me introduce my panelists to you. So Manisha is an executive with 20 plus years in the CX and CX domain and has varied industry experience, including e-commerce, banking, real estate, telecommunication. She's also a proud alumni of the INSEAD Business School. She has experience of working with 27 plus countries across APAC, India, and US, and she's moved from a software engineer to a business leader today, using CX and leveraging UI and UX to overcome the challenges and improving the challenges of CX. Talking about Kannan dived in the e-commerce industry as early as 2007 as an entrepreneur, where he successfully transformed SMEs in adapting to the new business model. He's, of course, responsible for shaping and driving the customer experience innovation throughout the organization. Kannan focused on building a high level of agility in order to adapt to the ever-evolving customer expectations. The fashion various processes and adopted new communication challenges to deliver superior service at the lowest cost possible. So Manisha and Kannan, welcome to the fireside chat.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, Neil.
All right. So my first question to both of you would be, how has COVID changed the face of retail, and particularly in Southeast Asia, or if I have to talk more about how has it changed in Indonesia? What are the challenges that you've seen?
I keep hearing that question all the time, Neil. Don't get me wrong, but to be honest, we are in an e-commerce industry. So if you ask a person coming from e-commerce industry, it's a all happy-go-lucky, to be honest, because things are whatever right. Targets there is all 3 times more. Yes, there is a downside to that as well, because it also depends on the preparation of the business to embrace that kind of volume of sales or volume of inquiries of customers. But Indonesia as such, in general, retail, it really differs from business to business. Large retailers had to, like Hypermart here, had to have park and pay. That you park the cars, you order what you want, we come down, you pay using this using the ATM cards. Or there are smaller organizations or smaller sellers who have started selling it on WhatsApp and online. So all bigger communities, gated communities here, they have WhatsApp account and then they add them to the WhatsApp and then start shopping there, instead of going to the stores or going to the pasa, which is like a local market. So everybody has come up with an innovative way of embracing it. And that's what I like about Indonesia, because this is one country where we have volcanoes, we have earthquakes, we have floods. It's an unpredictable rains all the time. So industries or companies are used to, especially in the retail industry, buy and sell industry, it is common. So people are embracing this and they are taking it in a very right spirit. Yes, in the first 2 months or so, I mean, even with the Indonesian government, there was a very strong support. We really never locked down. people come up with an innovative way and try to find a solution. And tech companies have taken the technology at a much accelerated rate. So there is a sad part of some industries, other industries other than retail, where, or in fact, even in malls, things have slowed down. But then they have come up with ways to partner with other organizations, quickly switch on to online, get e-commerce enablers on board. So really differs from industry to industry, and really within retail itself also really depends on the size of the organization and the technology enablement that they have.
Right, right. So very interesting points here. So size of the organization and technology enablement. Uh, thanks, Manisha, for that insight. Kanan, anything that you would want to add that you saw COVID changing the face of retail?
Yeah, sure. So I guess there are two sides of it. So from a customer's point of view, the various lockdown across the region have actually really accelerated the growth for e-commerce, where people are more comfortable staying home, staying safe. And I had some conversations with people around me generally, and we kind of acknowledge that this is a new norm, that people are going to stay home and try to get their things that they wanted, like in a more convenient way, like delivered to them. So and that agenda or that behavior is going to stay for a while before people get back to normal pre-COVID days, right? And I guess today, with the convenience and how e-commerce has been positioned, the expectation on e-commerce is also quite high. So in the sense that a lot of customers believe that it's just limitless of what you can actually get out of an e-commerce outfit. So for that reason, the expectation generally from what I see is that how a traditional business serves the customer and also how an e-commerce business serves the customer has tremendously changed. And we are getting like tremendous number of requests that are quite unique and things that we never heard before. So for that reason, we realized that the landscape has changed forever, and I guess that have actually accelerated not just the growth of the business, but also on things that we do on our side, on the preparedness to actually meet this expectation. While on the businesses, I think they have realized that e-commerce is the way to go, and we have seen like a great level of adoption to it. And I guess there's also a very strong need for us as a big e-commerce players to prepare the small and medium businesses to be able to adopt and deliver e-commerce experiences.
Thank you, Kanan, for that. So yes, interesting insights there in terms of the new age. I mean, the arm twisting that COVID did to us. I think the way for us to get out of that is to embrace e-commerce. Now, that brings me to an interesting question. That is, while both of you come from the new age technology business, so the new age of business that you come from, that is e-commerce, what are the other major challenges that you faced with your business continuity or the business momentum in these uncertain times? Of course, while at the customer end, there was a lot of embracing that was there, but in your day-to-day business continuity, were there any other challenges that you have come across, and that anything that stands out for you?
I think technically when the first wave of COVID infection spread, right? So the major hit was on the supply chain disruption. So we were not expecting this at all, and the disruptions were quite huge, to the fact that some of our flight routes and also the shipping routes were changed, and some of the government policy was starting to change quite immediately and quite frequently as well. So adapting to those, given the scale that we are today, it wasn't an easy feat, because we had to do a lot of things, and trying to meet customers' expectation on the other hand, and really trying to evolve as a business with a short period of time. When I'm talking about short period of time, there's no joke. It's about like 3 to 4 days, and sometimes, if I can just relate to you, we have a total of 300 plus over customer service agents based in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Philippines. And all of these employees were prepared. We were actually preparing them to work from home with a 6 hours notice. And of course, in a country like Malaysia, where technology penetration were high, it was much easier. Where we actually got them a laptop. For those who does not have a laptop, they already have broadband available at home. So we just told them to use their personal computings at the time being. And then in countries like Indonesia and Philippines, we quickly have to find a leasing model where we can actually supply enough hardwares to these employees in the short term at least. And it took us about a month or so for us to fully equip them to work from home. So that was one of the biggest challenges. And then the other time was a complete disruption of flights and shipping lines, where we would not be able to ship from a centralized warehouse fulfillment model that we used to have. And we really have to charter passenger planes to send our goods to Philippines. And it was approximately 7 flights, if I'm not mistaken, that we had to do it within a week because the order was just simply piling up. And in some of the cities where, in Manila, where we had a complete lockdown, where we could not mobilize our delivery team, that was also a huge challenge where customers were expecting, despite they are aware of the lockdown, but the expectation is still high that the e-commerce companies can actually do wonders. So they were still expecting the parcels. And I guess it was, to be fair to them, we were the only hope that they had to actually shop, right? Still shop and to get some of the stuff that they need. And we were also hit. It didn't go down well at that point of time. But thankfully, I think we have recovered, and we have put in together countermeasures in place to ensure that if this happens again in future at this scale, that we are ready to take on the challenge and really deliver to the customers.
Thank you, Kanan, for sharing that experience. While of course e-commerce was embraced, but there were multiple challenges and multiple ground realities that we have gone through in order to cater to our customers and keep the customer experience happy and ongoing. So thank you for sharing that experience. Manisha, I'm sure you would have similar experiences to share in terms of the challenges that you faced to keep up with your business continuity.
That's right, Neil. A part of it, what Kanan shared, definitely we also faced, especially our import was kind of blocked for almost few months with government regulation changing. And imagine with the COVID, the regulation changed, and all our stocks, all our inventory, all the orders, orders are sitting in the customs house, or still in China or Taiwan at the shipyards and not being shipped out at all. So we had to do that was of course a very big hit that we had to take during that time. But there are two sides of it. Like one is of course the business side. Certain parts of the business was affected, and we had to find out a way to partner with other organization or source our own ways to get the products to the customers. So that was the business side. But then JD.ID is very strong in warehousing and transport in Indonesia. So we can many organizations fail to do, all the way to like Papua and all those places that took larger appliances, fridge and washing machine and stuff like that. So those cases, with the COVID first wave, the transportation was even locally, not just the overseas, the locally was restricted as well. So mobility was very constrained. So we had to do a lot of we were quick in terms of technology. We had to leverage on technology to shut down all the DPs or make very clear to the customers that these are the drop-off points might be closed, or these are the places we might not be able to deliver, or even if we do deliver, it might take much longer than expected. So those are the smaller changes that we have to do on warehouse and the transport side. Now, warehouse and customer service, there is no way that you can work from home. People have to be in office. People, especially for warehouse, they have to pack the goods. So that was a big challenge as well. So that portion and the customer service, fortunately for my customer service operations, was fully outsourced, but I still had certain back-end operations people there in the office. So during the COVID period, our departments, these two departments, were fully operational from office, not from home. And we had to ensure that they were completely, the floors are empty, it has to be sanitized every 3 hours. The distance was not 1 meter, but the distance was two different floors people are sitting. So the communication had to be managed. So we had to take extra care for our employees to ensure that they are safe and in all possible ways, even during the transport. Like they were allowed to take personal cars. So there are a lot of additional fringe benefits we had to offer to keep the business going That was the second part where. But then, so we have a business side, which is a commercial side, which took a hit in a way. But then we had to cope up by partnering. Second is like our employees itself, and then the last part was the customers. Because of the spike, now we have two sets of group of people who are calling us. One who are absolutely digital savvy, so they are more than happy to buy online. They shop online, and now all of a sudden their usage spikes because they are working from, they are sitting home. So now they have more time with the devices. And then the second group of customers who are absolutely reluctant to have any digital interaction with the business. So now who are more into brick and mortar type of interactions. So now those also started coming on the platform where they were struggling of how to maneuver through the apps or through the pieces. So we had to also, so we saw on a customer side a big spike. Like literally, it was like 500% of our inquiries like jumped through. So we had to cater for that as well. So fortunately, because I have outsourced, I have my entire operations of the customer service is outsourced. I had to was able to recruit people on a timely manner, and then my back office team was there as I had to stop them from doing the work and okay, let's just take customer calls. To an extent, sometimes even the management had to step in and say, okay, what is the customer asking about? Take the calls, take the messages, take the emails. And so this was pretty tough. We had to cater for three different aspects of the business.
Understood. Wow, that's fantastic. It's fantastic. Of course, where on the ground reality, as Kanan was mentioning, or even you mentioned that there was certain periodic slowdown or periodic choking of the supply chain, and on one hand, due to the various regulations and lockdowns. On the other hand, you were seeing a surge in the demand that was, and you mentioned something as high as 500% increase in the demand that was there. So wow, that's quite an experience. Thank you, Manisha, for sharing this with us. From the beginning of this pandemic, we have often heard this term that bringing in a product mindset to solve the challenges, especially in terms of customer experience and customer support. Have you experienced or implemented anything where you have brought in product mindset to solve the challenges that you faced during this pandemic times? Manisha, I'll start with you if you can share your experiences.
We did few things, as I said. So I can start with the customers for portion. Because there was such a big spike. Fortunately, I was using a CRM which had WhatsApp enabled as well, and we are very innovative organization in terms of moving into technology and embracing this faster. So having WhatsApp as a channel for communication for customers to communicate, chatbot, the AR tool. There are a lot of automations that we had already planned. So chatbot was one of them. WhatsApp was one of them. So with the pandemic first wave, the plan just had to be accelerated. So we already had a product in mind, because see, product mindset is nothing but a holistic approach of trying to see how we can add value to the customers. Then you look at priorities, you look at customer experience, and it's not just one time thing. You look at it from a very long term perspective and a very phased pace. So WhatsApp, some of these automations were already were in plan. We just had to accelerate. So we enabled WhatsApp without any disruption. We enabled WhatsApp within a week, within 1 week or 2 weeks. Simultaneously, we also started other development and automations in place. So which is how literally we actually could cater to this first wave of COVID period.
Got it. Kanan, anything from your experience where you brought in a product mindset to take the problem head on?
Yeah, sure. So I guess what's the key is we focused on the platform itself. So there were multiple features that was in discussion, was accelerated into development at this during this point. Some of the key small low-hanging fruit features such as like tap to copy order number, tap to copy tracking number, cancellation module on the app, So some of these topics were around for quite some time, but COVID accelerated the demand and the need for it. And thankfully, it was rolled out somewhere late last year. And I think in a business like ours, I guess you would need to agree that it's always seasonal, right? So people shop not every day, but rather when it comes to a special festive season or public holidays, at least for the business model that we have. So we're looking at a situation where, when you have like 100 employees today, and all of a sudden within the next 1 week or so, you need to scale it up to 150. So we always put a lot of stress on the team to actually recruit, train, and deploy some of these employees to go live. And then we decided, one of the things that we need to do is we definitely have to enable chatbot partnering with Yellow Messenger. So we did exactly that. It was Q3, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, it's a journey. It's a journey towards perfection, right? So I think we want it to be as conversational as possible. So we have not reached that, primarily because there are a lot of integration that we need to do on our end as well. So all those put together, we managed to go live right before the major single day sale last year. And then beyond that, I guess there were multiple improvements that we have planned. And I guess one of the key deliverables should be coming online in the next couple of weeks. So these are the things that we have done, and there's no stopping for it. So we have actually gone back to the drawing board and tried to understand what have we been lagging behind. So not just in terms of features that is available readily, or just features that we already have and what we need to enhance, but also looking into the market as a whole and see, okay, so what are the next strategy that we should deploy to make sure that we will be the best in class. So working around that, I guess we will eventually reach there. Time will tell. It's just that I guess one of the best things that happened during COVID is that some of these discussions took a very easy turn, to be honest, as compared to before. So there's always constraints around resources and whatnot. But now I think the conversation is more around, okay, let's do this. How much benefit it brings? If this is the case, then let's do it. So that's how conversations are evolving around product discussions and features development.
That brings me to one interesting question which I keep hearing in the market, that COVID leveraged a lot of technology enablement or technology adoption for brands across different spectrum or different quadrant of the organization. Just wanted to, since both of yours are of customer experience and customer support, wanted to ask you both, do you think COVID actually molded a lot of decision making at your level to kind of bring in or embrace more technology? Because on the other hand, from a customer facing or a customer environment, it was social distancing and digital embracing that was happening. So did that mold a lot of decision making at your end, where you had to onboard or increase your dependency on technology to a higher level than what you would have usually done on a normal circumstances?
So how things have evolved, if I can speak from the payments perspective, is that we are seeing a strong demand for contactless payments. So one of the things we had to quickly enable within days where the lockdown have actually been imposed is that to enable majority of our riders and logistic partners to be able to accept cash contactless. So we have enabled QR based payments with most of our fleet, and that was one of the key popular demand at that point of time. And then along the way, I guess it was something very specific to Indonesia. I think the market is very mature in that sense. The awareness is strong, probably not covering the whole population, but at least a good segment of the population that shops online. So for that reason, I guess it was quite easy to deploy any new payment channel and also any new features in Indonesia, where the adoption is super strong. So we're noticing that in Indonesia, we deployed two of the major key wallets in Indonesia, and we saw strong adoption within a couple of weeks. And this was increasing to at least covering about 5 to 6% share of the total revenue coming from those markets. I mean, which is Indonesia. So something that I've not seen in other markets, but in Indonesia at least, the awareness is strong. So that really helped to further accelerate whatever key measures that we already have in place.
Very similar,
On
actually.
tech adoption.
Quite a few, as I mentioned before, that for us, generally we plan the automation all the way until 2023, 2025. We generally have that in place. With COVID, we had to be accelerated. So WhatsApp channel as a customer service, we also try to ensure that because our big problem was that our people, we did not have people working for call channel anymore, especially in Yogyakarta. So when we had to quickly launch something called as a wallet, so that customers don't have to be called for their asking for bank information. So whenever there is some cancellation, the money straight away goes into your wallet. We launched chatbot, which now, of course, I mean, it's a very big benefit for us with a 50% deflection. So there's a list of automation that we had to do to actually ensure that we are less dependent on human beings and more dependent and more leveraging on the technology that we have in place.
Thanks, Manisha. The next question is probably my favorite question in the entire conversation that we're having. How would you define the role of chatbot or conversational automation has been in your customer journey? And maybe to add to that would be what is the business impact that you see by adopting a conversational AI platform to do or to enable your customer journey in these uncertain times? What's the business impact that you've seen?
See, for me, chatbot is simple. It's about providing right information to the customer at the right time, because it's not just about chatting and providing information to the customer, but it's also intelligent. So it is a intelligent tool. It's acts as a sales consultant as and when you want, and it can be super proactive. And then lastly, it is 24/7. So it was but natural for us to actually go ahead as a solution. I say intelligent because as you know, with Yellow Messenger, we are already planning that as and when customer wants super detailed information on certain products, warranties, guarantees, a manual, installation process, chatbot is able to throw in that information right away to the customer without involving any human agent. So as a sales consultant, the emotional connect is very important with a customer, but chatbot can be leveraged to do so in a very smarter way. Of course, it's very taxing but it can be done, and if it's done in a good way, then it can throw in personalized recommendations. If a customer is inquiring about Apple Watch 6, and if you don't have it in stock, the system, it can automatically for Apple Watch and throw in the different options and variations to the customer, so the customer can still cannot walk away disappointed. That is an option available for customer. And when I mentioned being so the is available 24/7 for 7 days a week as well. So it really we have during the people were working in office, but then there was limitations on transport. So imagine they are not PM or 5 p.m., 7 p.m. because there are no trains, or there are no go car or go bikes as such for them to go home. Yeah. So chat value. Customers are still being provided the service and the answers to their inquiries, despite regardless of what hour of the time or the day they call or message the chatbot. So the other thing that I saw as a business value was that we don't again need human intervention. If there's a problem with the stock or there's a problem with the order delivery, the chatbot can automatically escalate to that relevant department, again without having to have customer service agent in middle to take a decision. So I've seen a huge impact from that area perspective of chatbot.
Understood. Kannan, you had already mentioned that while you were mobilizing the customer support team that you had across Malaysia, Indonesia, and Philippines, you were able to do it seamlessly for Malaysia, but you had certain challenges with mobilizing the team in Indonesia and in Philippines. How was adopting a conversation automation platform impacted your business momentum?
I think we did it in a timely fashion. So we went live 2 days before the major sale, which was one of the peak events of the year, and that could lead to at least a 200 to 300% spike in conversations. So for that matter of fact, I think what we decided is we looked into the overall plan, and we said that, okay, this is just too large for us to go live in a single quarter. And we had 21 days lead time from the time of signing the contract and going live. And we told ourselves that, let's not aim really high and try, we crash everything that we have, but rather take a baby step and look into what we can do within the next 3 weeks. And then we split it into a multi-phase project for the conversations. And that's precisely what we did. And surprisingly, right after the peak period have actually ended, right all the way to Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale. And I think we noticed at least a 50% deflection on the contacts. And of course, this was a period where we were trying to, we were actually shifting from one CRM to another while enabling Yellow Messenger. At the same time, really having a fresh breed of team that is getting used to working from home. So there was a level of certain level of drop that we observed on the quality side. But of course, this was turned around by cherry picking some of the smaller integration that we want to do, making sure the conversation become as seamless as possible. So interestingly, I think today we have the capability to give really granular view on customers' order transaction details. We are looking into doing payments next, and then I guess with all of this put together in place, something in the range of 75% deflection is definitely possible by Q3 or Q4 this year. So it's a continuous journey, and I think what's more important is that the vendor and the merchant have to work hand in hand to really tweak and really improve the platform. So it's not just you go live today and everything becomes perfect. Yes, like the next day. So.
Got it. Kannan, I would like to continue that topic further and go a little more deeper into how you weaved in tech and marketing to deliver the omnichannel experience. Just wanted to understand a little more from you as to how we have been doing it and what are the changes you plan to bring in order to blend in technology and marketing.
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, if you look at customer contact center operation across the globe, it's always viewed as a cost center, regardless of what kind of upselling you try to do or like turning it around into a profit center or whatnot. It's just impossible to change the paradigm around that. Okay, customer contact center is actually still a cost center. So for that reason, we really tried hard to understand how do we change this image, right? So we can do upsell, but how are we going to sell clothes to customers, right? If someone comes online and say they want to buy a dress, would you then force him to buy a t-shirt, right? So it just doesn't make sense. So what we did, we are a very cost conscious organization. I think most e-commerce companies are. One of the constraints that we have is to hire limitless number of people to enable a 24/7 call center. Comparatively, we are not as big as some of the bigger players in the market. So we want to maintain our level of cost consciousness. At the same time, we want to make sure that, okay, what we can do to accelerate conversion, for instance. So what we did, we used chatbot to our advantage, and we enable a 24/7 conversation, and whatever comes after X number of office hours, then it gets routed. If a customer wants further clarification, it gets routed to a real life agent that goes online the next day morning. So we did this. We saw at least a 12 basis point improvement in our conversion rate. Something that we have observed before whenever we have chat enable, but I guess at this point, to 0.12 at our range of visits, it's quite huge uplift in terms of revenue. So that became an ROI piece, and that made conversations with investment related conversations with our tech team and also with our finance team much easier, because now we are not just a cost center, but we are really driving value to the business. So that really helped a lot. I think the conversion, having chat enabled, customers have the tendency to convert faster, and they also have some sort of assurance that, okay, this is real and I'm chatting, I'm getting information that I need. Okay, it's fine to go ahead and purchase, especially when we had also the returns process. So that that is something that we are trying to enable for the customers to be able to book within the WeChat window itself. So all of this put together, there are quite a number of initiatives that's supposed to go live anytime soon from now on. And we hope that, with this, we will see much better contact deflection, at the same time, much better revenue uplift.
Thank you so much for sharing that vision. Manisha, on the other hand, I mean, you have always been an advocate of using technology in marketing, and you have not only spoken about it, but you have demonstrated phenomenal examples in the industry as to how this needs to be done or this should be done. Anything that you did differently or thought of doing differently or planned differently amidst the pandemic in order to use technology to deliver a superior omni-channel experience for your customers?
For us, actually, it's a omni-channel and commerce experience. So we also have offline stores. In fact, we just launched one, and we had before as well, like a couple of them. And we are moving very fast into offline stores as well. So for us, it's not just omni-channel online, but it's omni-channel commerce, because we have offline and online business to serve. So a chatbot comes in very handy, not just chatbots, but there are other things like we have put together, like AR and VR tools. Now, those who are willing to go to offline stores, yes, we have AR VR tools for beauty, fashion, and accessories and shoes. We also have now example for chatbot. We have how to ensure that we can advertise our offline stores on chatbot. So we leverage on very simple changes here and there, like having an offline, having a banner on chatbot, a collapsible banner. So customers, we don't need to, other than having some promotions and promotions material on the homepage or on the PC, or on TV or billboards, we also leverage on the tools like Salesforce or chatbot that we have to advertise to our customers. So on chatbot now, customers can see that what kind of promotions we are running. We have banners for that. We have offline store. We launched that. We've let the customers know. Now that's online. Offline as well is exactly vice versa. So customer can go to offline store. They like something, they can register. We have QR codes for them to register. They want to. We also advertise our offline stores in the nearby stores. So not only just we tell the customers that, hey, you can buy these products, but you can also go to nearby stores. Some of them are JD.ID hubs. Some of them are JD.ID stores. So they are more, when it comes to buying high-end goods, they're more confident in buying from JD.ID as a platform, because that we go with the tagline of the Javanori. So whatever opportunities we have without having to invest in paid advertisements. Yes, paid advertisements is there, but then we also leverage on the existing technology and existing structure or the infrastructure or the framework that we have to advertise each other. So when we launch WhatsApp as a channel, we leverage on offline store and the online. When we launch chatbot, we advertise chatbot online and offline. So we always find these opportunities, and that too without spending a dime on it. So what is planned is planned. So that's what's the beauty of using on technology is.
Thank you so much, Manisha, for sharing that. Just to understand, as more and more retail stores go digital, one thing that puts back customers is the lack of personalized in-store experience. According to you, how can brands remedy this? I'll start with Manisha and then over to you, Kannan. So what are your inputs on this as to how brands can remedy this for customers from a customer experience?
So I guess enabling chatbot is actually the baseline of a very long journey. Of course, customers' expectation is always to have personalized level of service. And I think with chatbot, there are some enablement that you can actually enable using a partner. But then beyond that, I guess the majority of the work lies within the organization to actually make granular connections or granular API related connections to give more customers a more granular view. So example, if you log in, right, the chatbot could probably tell you that, hey, how can I help you? And the customer asks a very generic question, how do I return a product? Yes, we can tell you in a more generic way that this is how you return. But imagine the same situation where you actually have an integration per se, and you know exactly the customer's location, and you say when your customer logs in and say that, hey, I would like to return, and then you kind of follow the geotag of the customer and say that, hey, okay, you can return through this module, and this is the last order that you have purchased from us. Would you like to return this? If yes, follow through the process, and then towards the very end, give a precise recommendation of like, these are a couple of locations that is around your current location. Of course, there is a question of invasion of privacy, whatnot, getting customers' consent, but that's once assuming that you have all of those, this is something you can actually kind of explore and say that, okay, this is the location that is near to you, and you can actually return to them. Otherwise, you can also select a pickup service provider where you actually have to pay a premium fee of like, maybe 2 to 3,000 rupiah. So this is something that is possible, but however, that requires work beyond the basic integration. So a strong development and continuous development would be required on your end as well to enable this. And I think when you do this sort of things, it becomes really conversational. Doesn't really tell you're actually engaging in a chatbot per se. So it's becoming more of like a really an artificial intelligence powered conversation. And I think that's where all of us should aspire to reach to. Given the work the merchants does hand in hand with the vendors, I think this is possible. Time will tell when we actually can actually have such features available.
Understood. Understood. Thank you so much, Kannan, for sharing that. Picking it up from one of the points you made earlier, that is introducing commerce and taking it ahead. And I wanted to understand your take on an omni-channel commerce environment and the role of virtual assistant or chatbots. The role that virtual assistant chatbots play in it.
I think omni-channel presence is really important, and I think with the evolution of like social media platforms and the popularity, you don't see Facebook at the top every time. You sometimes see that Instagram is gaining more popularity over Facebook, and in recent times we had Clubhouse, and I get like notification like 12 times a day and say that, hey, someone is online, would you like to join this discussion? And this conversation really goes for hours, right? So that shows the level of engagement, and people are very open to try out new platforms, new social media channels. For that reason, I think being available in all of the platforms is really key. And I think beyond that, of course, you have chatbot on the other hand, and then this chatbot is not just available on live chat on the web or the app, but you can also use the chatbot power to actually enable your WhatsApp conversations on some of the conversation that is possible, right? So for that reason, I guess the opportunities are there. It's readily available. It's just on how you seize it and deploy it. On some of the less what you call urgent channels, I would say, such as Facebook. I mean, even Facebook, I think you can do chatbot, right? But if it's, let's say, email, right? I've seen emails powered by some of the recommended answers that is powered by some AI at the back, right? So that is even possible to some extent. But however, when it comes to some of the more sensitive nature of conversation, I guess you can actually still use chatbot. And when it comes to a point of where more private data exchange, you can actually channel that to a different channel by making sure that the transition is very seamless. That could help making the customers experience more convenient.
Thanks, Kannan. Manisha, you already spoke about it being an omni-channel commerce and omni-channel conversation for you. What has been the role of omni-channel commerce, or what has been the role of chatbots in bringing an omni-channel commerce experience to customers?
Neil, they have to go in hand. Without the chatbots and virtual assistant, yes, the omnichannel commerce can function very properly. That wouldn't be an issue. But then omnichannel commerce itself, it's the whole idea is to provide seamless customer experience to the in a way where customers can buy online and go offline to return and cancel or get their money back. They can buy offline and they can return online. So the experience is super seamless. It's very, very consistent. But then customers don't care about just the seamlessness, right? Because seamlessness is easy for us. They care about the convenience, of course. But then other than that, what they care is the speed and accuracy. Now, that's where chatbot comes in. That's where the virtual assistant comes in. Is that your omni-channel commerce provides seamlessness and then effortlessness. And you have chatbots and these virtual tools that provides the speed and accuracy. So marrying them together means that you are literally making like giving the customer with n number of choices to decide how they want to communicate or interact with the business. And these virtual assistants and chatbot, they can be used at different touch points. Doesn't necessarily have to be just offline or just online. We can identify in the user journey where you can want to plug it in. Like I gave example earlier was plug the chatbot in the PDP page and let chatbot
Yes.
help the customer. So there are different. The world is a blank slate when it comes to technology. It's just about being more. And in fact, we are not even talking about inventing something from scratch. It's just the ideas all over it. I look at Zalora for certain ideas. I look at Amazon for certain ideas. I look at Apple for certain ideas. So, as a customer experience, it's all about finding where did I get the best experience, what made me happy and made me comfortable. You bring it back to the platform, and that's what omni-channel commerce is about. And that's where how virtual assistant or chatbots are plugging in to make that as a very beautiful together being easy for the customers.
Such a powerful insight. Thanks for sharing that, Manisha. Thanks. My next question to you, Manisha, would be, and Kanan, to you also, as both of you are part of a brand which is known for being ahead of the curve brand, who have adopted AI for business processes. What would be your advice to other retail brands when they're trying to or they're looking to get AI ready?
See, I had customer experience. For me, it is about emotional connect. It is your signature. You cannot get it wrong, right? It's something that people emotionally connect with, and people will remember you even when they're not your customers. So when you are choosing or you're getting AI ready, the most important is yes, it is true that AI actually drives personalization and it significantly improves CX. I personally have seen in multiple businesses where I have worked in. But where organizations go wrong is not focusing on the fundamentals. They AI ready means what? More than that, you need to step back and say that are you business ready? Because there are business ready doesn't mean that customers have 100 inquiries and now we need to have AI, bring the AI tool in. No, it's about are you from a technology standpoint, process standpoint, content standpoint, people standpoint, your employees, are they business ready? Are you business ready to embrace AI? Don't rush into an AI tool just for the sake of it. Focus on the details. And generally, like how I personally do and how I did in JD.ID is we create in customer experience department, we create a Maslow's hierarchy of customers' need. So we have Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, and we create it for customer needs as well. And we have all the thousands and thousands of requirements from different customers, and we map them to that pyramid where the base is the fundamentals, which is absolutely must to have, and then at the peak, like the basically the top of that pyramid is nice to have or make it fun and enjoyable for the customers. Look at your request, look at your business, look at your inquiries from the customers and see where do they fit in. When you feel that okay, now you are ready, then you can actually start putting into the fun and enjoyable part, because people invest in AI not knowing that there are so many fundamental things from a process and a content standpoint that they have not fixed. So chatbot works or the virtual tools, including the virtual augmented tools or the AR tools work very fine. But if you know for sure that this is what you want and when you want, how you want, the content, the timeliness, everything matters a lot. So get the business ready. Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing that. Kanan, your inputs in terms of what advice would you give to brands that are trying to get AI ready today?
Yeah, sure. So Neil, from my perspective, AI it's unlimited web that you can actually explore. For that reason, I would probably give one advice that can also use in a lot of other things as well, not just in AI deployment, but spend your time 95% of the time to plan and 5% of the time to execute. Then you would be able to have a very good solution, not just for yourself, but also for the customers as well. Of course, AI has become a buzzword in the recent years, and there are a lot of excitement to it. But I think beyond that, I think there's a big responsibility in making sure it works, and it works well for both for the customer and also for the organization. I think if we plan it ahead and we plan it right, this is definitely possible.
Thank you, Kanan. Thank you, Manisha. I had a lot of learning from what you both shared today in terms of bringing in a product mindset to take the pandemic head on, and then using your experience to kind of tame the dragon and actually go over and offer that the omni-channel experience without breaking the norms and the business mindset or the business delivery that you are expected to deliver as a brand name JD.ID and Zalora had been doing with its customers. So I had a lot of learning. Your thoughts on using digital platforms like chatbots and how you bring in omnichannel commerce experience, how you tie it down to providing seamless customer support at any point in time across different borders and different regions, different countries. So thank you so much, Manisha and Kannan, for sharing your inputs. It was lovely having you both on this chat, and I look forward to interacting with you more on similar lines and similar topics.
Thank you, Neil. Really appreciate it. It's an honor.
Manisha.
Thank you, Kanan.
Thanks, Kannan. Thanks, Manisha.